I think that excitement and the electricity of finding the next big thing or helping to build the next big thing is really what gets us up in the morning. I think we're the type of people that really get a kick out of pushing our own limits and our own potential and trying to figure out what is our breaking point.
If the goal was to hang out on an island and sip pina coladas all day, we'd already be down in Margaritaville. I think we just enjoy the struggle and the challenge of building and creating.
To us, sitting around and kind of just like, not building towards something, not, achieving something, not growing as a person, seems sort of like boring and you've checked out. And I get that maybe when you're like 75. But right now, I think it's incumbent upon you as a person to, really try and tap into like how great you can be. I don't know, I think it's part of your duty to do that and also, give back at the same time, like leave the world or leave something better off than it was before you got there.
I'm Tyler. And I'm Cameron.
And we're the Winklevoss twins.
I am a president and co-founder of Gemini.
I'm the CEO and co-founder of Gemini. We're both entrepreneurs, investors, and Olympians.
And I'm left-handed.
And I'm right-handed.
Hey Reddit, ask me anything, or should I say ask us anything.
So the fact that we're twins and we're best friends has been a huge asset. We've definitely always used it to our advantage. It's obviously not always easy getting along all the time, but we've managed to do it, and it's been a great. We made a great team, both in sports during a rowing career, and now we really enjoy working together in business. And I think trusting your partners is something that's super important, and we have that built in because we're twins. And if I do something wrong to him, then it's pretty much like doing it to myself. So it's been a great asset, and we've tried to make the best of it.
I think one of the things that helps is, even though on paper and on first glance we might look and appear like the same exact person, we have much different, I think, personalities. And given the fact that I'm left-handed and he's right-handed, we generally approach problems and different things from different angles. So there's, I think, a healthy discourse and back and forth. So we're not sitting around sort of ratifying each other. We're actually having constant dialogue and different opinions. I think that's what makes it exciting, but also working so that we don't get bored of each other. I think the easiest way to think about Bitcoin is internet money, or money purpose-built to be able to send value over the internet. If you think of the way that we currently pay for things or send payments through the internet, we use credit cards and things like ACH, and those are inventions that predate the internet by many, many decades, and fitting them onto the internet is really like putting a square peg in a round hole. If you think of the way we used to make phone calls via landlines, and then voice over IP it was developed as a voice protocol, and applications like Skype were then built on top of it, and our voice now goes through the internet in data packets. Bitcoin is similar in concept to taking money and creating effectively value packets that now go through the internet. With respect to skeptics, I think that there's a lot of arguments and reasons why Bitcoin, I think, is the future, and cryptocurrencies as a whole. But I think the simplest way to sort of say it is that this is not an if, it was always a when. If there was an ability to build a money protocol in the early days of the internet, it would have been added. The only reason it wasn't added is because the technological or computer science breakthrough had not happened in those early days. It took until 2009 when Satoshi Nakamoto effectively created the consensus system of Bitcoin and solving the Byzantine generals problem, at which point now Bitcoin is part of the internet and a protocol that is viable. And I think that if you sort of step back and look at the way everything is moved from sort of the physical into the digital, when you think of music, we've gone from vinyl records to CDs, and then now digital ones and zeros in a digital format. This was always going to happen, and I think eventually you will view cash and the dollar bills in your wallet, if you still have any. Your wallet's probably mostly plastic at this point. You will view it as a vinyl record and a thing of the past that probably only hipsters will use in the future. So I think the cheapest thing I purchased with Bitcoin was a Lego book. It's sort of like a coffee table book. I think it cost probably around $20. And I can also tell you the most expensive thing was a ticket to space on Virgin Galactic.
So I don't usually buy my lunch with Bitcoin because I'm worried that I'll be overpaying down the road. So right now I'm just holding my Bitcoin. I always have Tyler buy me lunch. That's not true. I think that the immediate future for Bitcoin, at least in the US, is regulated businesses, licensed businesses like Gemini. It's impossible to totally see the future, but if you look back to the early days of the internet, I feel like we're in the first or second inning of Bitcoin, so it's almost like 1993 or 94. So there's tremendous potential, and we think it's just the beginning. I think that right now Bitcoin is like the internet pre-broadband, and it's pretty hard to imagine the internet fulfilling the promise that it has over the past 20, 25 years without that type of infrastructure development. And right now, Bitcoin, there's lots of companies like Gemini trying to build the bridges and tunnels and connect the island of Bitcoin to the mainland of finance and bringing people basically into the system. So I think using the internet as sort of an analogy, that's kind of where we are. We're pre-broadband, and we think that building the infrastructure will be a big part of sort of the growth of the Bitcoin economy over the next year. So we built from the ground one with a security first mentality. Our first three hires were security experts. Our chief security officer was the head of security from Airbnb, which is something like a $15 or $20 billion company, so it's quite large. He also worked on the Google Wallet and at Microsoft with the very highly touted security group. So we've used the best practices, multi-signature technology, hardware security modules, geographically distributed vault systems. So we've spent about a year and a half building what we think is state-of-the-art Bitcoin security and best practices, both to prevent from external hacks, internal malfeasance, and any other type of errors. So this has been the most important thing for us to think about. We take security really seriously, and we recognize that security has been pretty much the downfall of a lot of Bitcoin companies before. So we've tried to learn from that and build the best product possible.
I think the utility of Bitcoin is largely in the eye of the beholder. In certain areas of the world, it acts as a great store of value where let's say the fiat currency or the national currency is being debased, or there's large capital controls, or there's risk of a collapse. In the US, Bitcoin probably, people think of it more as a payments rails, and it has a different application. If you send remittances, Bitcoin has a utility in terms of being able to send money across borders with low friction and pretty much instantaneous. So I think that a lot of times Bitcoin has different use cases depending on where in the world you are.
I think we're definitely past the is this a fad phase of Bitcoin or virtual currency, or rather digital currency. I think cryptocurrencies are here to stay. They're the future. Everyone, including central bankers, are embracing it or some form of it. I think in the near future, at least in the U.S., we've been building Gemini, so that it's a regulated exchange, so that Wall Street and the institutional players can actually get into Bitcoin, because right now it's still pretty much a fringe thing, and we're trying to mainstream it. So I think you're going to see that it just continues to go mainstream. I think that there may be other cryptocurrencies outside of Bitcoin and other evolutions of it, but I think in terms of the space of cryptocurrency, I think it is the future of money. Thank you, Reddit, and thank you, Reddit users, for the interest in our story and hearing what we have to say. It's been a lot of fun answering questions. It's certainly an honor, and we're flattered to be here, and the fact that you guys are taking the time to learn more about us as people, also as entrepreneurs, and about Gemini. And we are working really hard to build what we think is the next thing, which is Gemini, and super passionate about making sure that Bitcoin reaches its full potential. And thanks for taking the time and the interest.
Yeah, thanks for tuning into Reddit this morning. I'm sure this was the most important thing on your daily schedule. In any event, yeah, thanks for taking the time and the interest in our story. I hope you learned something. I think we did. Hopefully you got to see both the sort of the professional side of us as well as the human side. And we look forward to seeing you on Reddit in the future.